before you leave a lab meeting. First of all, America needs science. Since the Sputnik days, we've known that science was as political as it was empirical, and that politics drove support for the sciences. We now are in a race with 3 countries that are saying straight out to the world scientific community, America may not be a home for you, but we're welcoming you with open arms. China, France, and Canada. Xi Jinping, Emmanuel Macron, and Justin Trudeau all saying, welcome aboard, come to our country if you're not feeling welcome in the United States of America. And science needs globalization. Globalization and science have become very tightly knit. And a good example of what happens when you destroy your globalization and your internationalism is what's going on right now in the United Kingdom since they voted for Brexit and they're now in the final countdown to implementation. They've had an 11.8% decrease in tech investment in the UK because of its pressure to dissociate from European Union scientific institutions. They've seen a huge drop in biomedical investment, pharmaceutical investment, and more of the collaborative science that has been the basis of triumph in England is falling apart because of Brexit, diminishing the sense of freedom to immigrate from the EU into the UK. Democracy depends on science. How many of you were watching Mark Zuckerberg testify before the dim bulbs in Congress who didn't know the difference between Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, had no idea what they were talking about, had no idea how the internet works, had no idea who Mark Zuckerberg, this youthful billionaire, was? All they knew was that their constituency was upset about invasion of privacy and 87 million Facebook accounts being used by Cambridge Analytica to disrupt our elections. We're trying to count on an 84-year-old senator from Utah to figure out what's appropriate regulation of the internet? Congress cannot protect us from Russian trolls, from surveillance by greedy corporations, and from all the other threats to our internet-based democracy. They need science to advise, science to create appropriate policies. And our economy needs science because every competitive advantage within the OECD shows, whether you're in the World Economic Forum or not, whether you're part of the World Trade Organization or not, if you don't have a strong science, research, and development base to your economy cannot survive. That's just A plus B equals C. And here's the good news. After all our panic about White House determination to slash the science budgets across the board, the people of America and the United States Congress in both parties get it. On March 22nd, when they finally had the guts to vote through a budget for 6 months into our fiscal year for FY18, White House wanted them to slash science funding, and what did they do? They gave it the biggest increase in more than a decade. A 12.82% increase overall. The NIH up 8.3%. Department of Energy Basic Science up 15%. NASA up to $1.2 billion. The U.S. Geological Survey up to $1.1 billion. And even their primary target, the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, was allocated $8.1 billion. Congress gets it. The American people get it. You here in Washington Square Park today get it. So what's next? Well, we have the midterm elections coming up, November 6th. And Congress will certainly not put through a fiscal year 2019 budget before the FY18 budget ends on September 30th because they're scared to death about the elections. So you have to put the pressure on and keep it on. And finally, as I round up because I'm running over time, the real challenges that are ahead for all of us mean we have to get out of our silos in science. The biggest challenges are interdisciplinary. They require skills and sharing. They are climate change, antimicrobial resistance, pandemic threats, cybersecurity threats, robotics, artificial intelligence, water scarcity, the lack of adequate food supplies and safety, the acidification of our oceans,